I'm just getting over a sinus infection. Hi! It's been 2 weeks. 2 long weeks since our last Ready to Dance Again Sunday session. And I'm sorry. I apologize. Life was lifing for me. And between traveling and getting sick, I had to take a break, a quick little pause. I wasn't able to do Sunday and I wasn't able to do Wednesday. It's so crazy because the spiritual journey is fraught with all types of ways in which energy works with you and against you. And it can be very subtle, very minute. You don't even notice it. And sometimes you have to pay attention to other things. Now, I started this Sunday session accepting the call from the One Most High Divine to use my divine talents to bring healing and love and, I guess, some sort of guidance, but more importantly, community to folks like me and to folks who are going along a path of uncertainty or just a long seeking or feeling this longing inside of them to do something beyond what has been written for them to do. And I'm so very grateful and so very happy that I've gotten over the hump of last week and I've come back to greet you and to be with you and to spend our precious time together, because one of my biggest hurdles in life has been consistency. And the fact that I'm coming back, because normally something like issue after an issue after an issue with getting a thing done, a specific thing done, would have stopped me. Maybe not something as small as like a sinus infection or travel, but yeah, I find that I lose momentum and I don't gain it back when things are in the way. So I feel really proud that I've rejoined the conversation today, because I could have easily let another week go by and not get this video done. I have a big project coming up and it really needs my attention, but this is just as important to me. It is very important to me to answer this call and to continue to answer this call for those who are out there who need it now or who may need it later, which is why it's being recorded and put on YouTube and not just in like a WhatsApp chat or whatever. But just know that I'm very excited and very happy and very proud in this moment to be with you. I am very proud of you. I'm proud of you for whatever accomplishments you rose to the occasion to acquire this over the last 2 weeks. I'm very proud of you and very grateful and very thankful to the Most High for you, for your presence. It means so much to me. All that said, it's time to dance again, and I hope you're ready. we've discussed the ongoing theme of retracting from the world that has been written around our existence. We've talked a lot about stopping the rat race and detaching from the ideologies and the patterns and the false realities that we have to deal with, or that we have been exposed to, or that we've been taught to focus on in the world. And one key is very important that we take the steps, right? We stop, we get off the Ferris wheel or the hamster wheel. Ferris. We get off the wheel. We get off the wheel and we observe and take a look at ourselves, and we detach from this world. We start to see ourselves not necessarily as individuals, but as spiritual beings having a human experience together. We are communal people, and when we stop and take a look at the world, but first I want to explain to you, or let you know, or at least just set the stage and the expectation for you, because when you start a journey like this, it often feels lonely. It feels like I can't go on this journey alone. I can't take this path because I'll be by myself. But I just want to let you know that you're not alone. You are not walking on this journey alone. 1,000, 1,000,000, billions of people are walking on this journey with you, headed in the same direction, and you will arrive to a family. And you will build family, and you will build community on the way. The isolation that is felt in the world is because we are taught to see ourselves as individuals, and we are taught that if we don't accomplish goals on an individual scale, meaning that if we don't become, get an education, get a job, take care of ourselves, and live in the world as productive human beings, that we are failures. And the problem with that ideology is that we are communal, and we're supposed to use each other to propel us through life. When you start to feel isolated, it's because we've been taught that we're only supposed to do it ourselves, and you're not. When you detach from this world view, you feel isolated because you feel like everyone else is part of the world. Everyone else is in the world. Everyone else is doing what the world wants them to do. And here I am trying to be different, or trying to forge my own path, or even feeling like here I am being defiant. And who am I to be defiant? Who am I to take my own path when the whole world is going in the same direction or doing the same thing? It's obvious that's how it's supposed to be. But what's obvious is an illusion. What's obvious is that you have a body. What's obvious is that you have a spirit. What's obvious is that there are buildings and walls and streets. All those things are obvious. But what's not obvious is what's around the corner. And when you're on a journey towards seeking to be your most divine self, you have to develop a very strong faith in what is unseen and what is around the corner. So we have been on this journey, and when I got to this point, I remember thinking to myself, I'm alone. When I got to the point where I realized that I didn't want to run on the rat race, when I got to the point where I didn't realize that I didn't want to be like everyone else, and I didn't want to be a cog in the wheel, and I didn't want to live a life that fulfilled this contract that was made for me by someone else with the world. When I realized that I wanted to break that contract and I wanted to write a new contract between me and God, I felt a little alone. I was around 19, and I soon found my tribe of weirdos who also were breaking their contract with the world and deciding to walk a path that they wrote for themselves. Now, we will go in and out of this consciousness in our life, right? We will break the contract, but then re-sign the contract and then break it again, and then, live up to our greatest potential, and then we'll break that contract with ourselves that we have with God and go back to the world's contract. We will go through cycles of developing ourselves into the greatest version of ourselves as we walk on the path. But you will never fail to come back to you. You will never fail to come back to you. And I say that because when I was away for the 2 weeks, when I didn't get to my camera, I felt like I had broken the contract with myself and God. I felt like I was going to easily go down the road of my past, where I would do great things that I knew was charged to me to fulfill, but I was unable to fulfill them for lack of internal motivation, or I was unable to fulfill them for lack of consistency, or I was unable to fulfill them because of the ills that I've grown to be comfortable with in the world. Do you know yourself well enough to know what ills you've grown accustomed to feeling comfortable with in the world? The ills that prevent you from fully realizing your best self. Have you identified what those things are? It takes sitting with self. It takes reimagining yourself. It takes reimagining the world. It takes a choice. We work to fulfill someone else's dream. Will you work just as hard to fulfill your own dreams? Will you work just as hard to fulfill the calling on your heart? Will you work just as hard to fulfill God's calling for you? If you've gone through these steps with me so far, if you've stopped running, if you've asked yourself the question, why? If you've detached yourself from the worldly attachments that were put on you or that you accepted without enough information, if you are now sitting in the space where you are observing yourself to understand yourself so you can reimagine yourself in a world where you are fulfilling your wildest dreams, I really, really pray for you to reach this place. And if you're already in this place, then it's time for you to write a new contract with you and the Most High Creator that will charge you to fulfill your personal calling, the calling on your heart, the calling that uses your innate talents and that uses the skills that that you've learned and grown into. I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you to find your way here, to a space where you sit with Spirit and Spirit guides you, where you can see on the horizon yourself fulfilled. We've talked about fulfillment. We've talked about what it looks like and what it doesn't look like. You can be happy. You can be joyous. You can have a healthy relationship, and you can still feel unfulfilled. Fulfillment, joy, a sense of self-worth, self-love comes from within. I found it through sitting with God. I found it through knowing who I am as a human being, as a spiritual being, as a Black woman. Knowing these things is what built me up to be a solid, strong, resilient, beautiful, confident, courageous, and consistent spiritual being having a human experience. So the journey continues. It continues beyond this. And we'll talk about the benefits of of the world and how to use the world to help you fulfill your help you to walk the path of your most divine self. The world is here for a reason. We are in it for a reason. You have a contract with God for a reason. And that contract came before your body. You just have to remember it. Before you even came into this body, you already knew. You just have to remember it. And that's why I'm here. So I pray that this week brings you back to you. I thank you for rejoining me today. We're on this path together. We are healing together. We are loving together. And I love you.